Hello and welcome to the Shut-In Show. I'm your host for this episode and every episode, Danny Parker. Thank you very much for being here. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about some self-care. Going to highlight the fact that it's Earth Day. We got some tips for you to maybe spend your outside time, and then some good news on the horizon. And a sports broadcast. So, let's jump right into it. Music is something that all of us spend a lot of time listening to. It can really affect the way that we move through a day. And so for self-care for today, I want us to look at being really, really intentional with your music choices. One big thing that I think that I want to suggest is to make or update a playlist of songs that is only good vibes. It's going to get you in that right mood for if you're feeling weird or if you're just hitting the beginning of your day and you're not sure how it's going to go. You can hit play on this playlist and then just flow right into your day with your favorite songs. Something that I was advised to do a while ago, I don't remember where I got this, but just listening to your favorite song and sort of moving your body to it, no matter how subtle or how big, can drastically change your feeling for the rest of the day. It moves your brain chemistry and your signaling in a different way. Try it out. It's awesome. And one of the best things about music is that if you have a decent car setup, you can take that music with you into your vehicle, and all of the speakers are pointed towards the driver effectively. It's a great time and a great way to listen to music. So go on a nice drive, absorb some of that sun, listen to some music. It's a really, really good way to do that. So another thing I want to talk about in terms of self-care and music is using music to transition in and out of different activities. So I know that I have a hard time transitioning when I need to do homework or when I want to transition out of, like, oh, I've finished something, or it's just time for me to be done with my homework. And what I've noticed recently is that I'm putting on lo-fi beats just constantly in my office. They're always at a low volume, and it essentially keeps me feeling like my office, this space here, is a place for me to sort of focus and enjoy some relaxed a relaxed time so that we can really get into the right mood. So then if you're transitioning out of a relaxed mood and you wanted to get into something more fun, then you can do that, right? Just pick your playlist, put it on the speakers in a different room, or just have your phone in your chest pocket or your back pocket. I just really recommend this as a way to manage your mood and your activities throughout the day, and give it a try. I know that you've probably done this before. You will have plenty of experience with this, but be as intentional as you can with your music. Seriously, setting like, okay, I've got different kinds of work, right? Like I've got homework, and then I've got stuff to prep for this, and I've got stuff to do for my job as a substitute teacher. And I will often switch the music so that I can get my brain into a different way of focusing. So I have a Spotify playlist that's full of all sorts of chill, relaxing beats. I have another Spotify playlist that's all full of funky kind of music that I've been playing on the show. If the chat wants that, if you, the viewer, want that, let me know, and I will post up one of those perhaps in the next episode or in the comments for this video. Let's talk about Earth Day. Today is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, 50th edition of Earth Day. Since 1970, we've been celebrating Earth Day. And it's a really odd time when most of us feel sort of confined into our homes to be celebrating something that is usually an excuse to get out and do stuff with people in the natural environment. But there are lots of funny things happening around the globe, lots of odd things that, like, okay, our Earth is changed when we interact with it, right? Like, over time, there have been these gradual shifts, and it changes the way that the Earth operates, or the Earth that we can expect from our environment. But because almost every country is a shutdown right now, it really has changed lots of things. I'm sure you've seen these memes, right? People are seeing animals in the streets. And like my wife and I like to make this joke of just like point at anything, be like, we are the virus, right? Like, it's the conclusion that I want you to draw from the fact that there are lots of animals getting back into the sort of emptier streets is that we have an effect on our global community and our local ecological community. These animals and these plants that live nearby us do that exactly. They live nearby us, and there's lots and lots of ways that we interact and affect them without even realizing it. And so this is a picture from Wales of lots of goats that sort of took over a town. Earlier there was monkeys that were used to being fed by tourists, and then they like came in force into, I think, an Indian town. And another place in the world where lots of animals are taking over is the South Hill. The turkeys are retaking to the streets. But they're always there. Well, anyway, moving on. Another thing that's been fun to see is the lots of different photos from places like Los Angeles, where the skies are remarkably clear. Beijing, remarkably clear. If you're not allowed to drive, or if you're severely limited, then our air is cleaner. And it's exciting to see some of the things that might be happening, right? There might be a clean air movement moving through this. Like, we've already had a clean air movement, but this is like what happens if we do reduce the amount that we drive? Like, is it possible? A lot of times when people are saying like, well, we need to change the way we act, a lot of us need to change the way we act in order to affect the world in a positive way, in order to affect pollution. And people say, well, it's not possible to get everybody to do everything all at once, and it's too late, like nobody will do this. And what's the crisis is showing us is like, this is possible when we come together over something, right? And it takes laws, and it takes solidarity, and it's challenging. However, just looking at, like, you can kind of see in this video and this photo how few people are on the roads, right? If we had more buses, more trains, more public transit use, or just relied less on commuting by telecommuting, right? Lots of little things that we've noticed, and big things, can potentially move us, once we're out of this COVID crisis, into a post-COVID world that has a positive impact. And that's one of those things that I'm trying to look for right now. Or what are all of the ways that we might have a positive impact after this shutdown? And I think that this is one of them. This is a very clear example of like what happens when we don't drive every day to get to a certain place. Yeah, chat says pollution is at an all-time, or maybe just a 21st century low. Yeah, of course. It couldn't be an all-time low because there were periods of time when we didn't have machines that produced carbon monoxide that we used to, or carbon dioxide that we used to move around in the world. But yeah, this is amazing. I really want more trains. I so wish that Spokane had a train. This is not on the schedule, but I flew to Portland like months ago to visit my family. And I got off the plane, stepped onto a train, the Max, and then rode it to the neighborhood where my uncle lived, and just was able to get off and walk to his house. It was the most remarkable experience that I've had with transit ever at all. And admittedly, I've been to a couple of European cities, but I've not spent a lot of time in a big city that has a fantastic train infrastructure. But golly, do I want one in our city. And again, everyone's always like, it's too expensive, it's not going to be worth it, nobody's going to use it. But essentially, we need to spend the time and energy and money to build these things up in order for us to actually get anything out of it. So, yeah, being good to our environment sometimes costs money. Moving on. I have some good news for you as well. IKEA has released their meatball recipe so that you can make it at home. It's pretty simple ingredients. I've read some reviews that say that it's pretty dang close. That's not identical because obviously they have huge industrial kitchens and they still want something to be left later. So go try out this ingredients, or try out this recipe. The ingredients are pretty chill. I think it's 5, 6, maybe 8 or 10 different ingredients. Yeah, it would be. I'm looking excited. I'm looking forward to trying this out if we get a chance. More in the good news arena, we've got a report that medical detection dogs have begun to be trained to sniff out COVID. This is a thing that exists already. Dogs have been used to sniff out cancer, Parkinson's, malaria, and especially with a disease like a respiratory disease like COVID-19, the body odor will change on a person who's affected. Even if they're not experiencing other symptoms, their body odor might change, and so, or will change, and so there's a very high chance that dogs will be able to detect it. The one article that I read says that there's about an 80% success rate, which is pretty great. Professor Steve Lindsay at Durham University says, if the research is successful, we could use COVID-19 detection dogs at airports at the end of the epidemic to rapidly identify people carrying the virus. This would help prevent the reemergence of the disease after we've brought the present epidemic under control. So obviously they're training the dogs right now, and we're thinking months and years into the future when these sorts of things become more necessary, when we decide like who can travel in this area, who cannot. And many of the COVID tests right now are very invasive. And so this could be one that's just an easier screen. And I imagine, depending on how air travel works and how widespread these are, you've got multiple stations where like multiple layers of medical testing, where you've got a dog that sniffs you, and then you've got another way that they test you with a temperature gauge and that sort of thing. I'm really excited about this. I think that this is a neat and exciting way that we can use this. It's a technology, this training, and this biotechnology at that, to help us figure out what the best way moving forward is. But way to go. Good dogs. I wanted to add a little bit more on top of the Earth Day materials. I was trying to get a hold of Jacob Schmidt to do something for me this morning, and I did not give him enough time. So I'm actually probably going to interview him tomorrow or the next day and get more information about how you can take action right now when a lot of larger governmental organizations are still moving forward with these decisions, where they normally would have a large public forum where people would come and give their opinions on things like dam removal or other varieties of things, forest use. And right now, those are all in this online or phone-based format, which is not working for everybody. When people are trying to survive, it's not a very efficient or effective or really fair and equitable way to move forward with these decisions. So I'm going to talk to Jacob a little bit about that sometime soon. Look forward to that. I also recently interviewed Graham Lauer talking about self-care in the time of COVID. So I've got some sweet interviews coming up for you next. And if you or anybody you know has a musical talent or would like to be featured on the show, I'm looking for musical guests. I would love to do a little interview, probably a lot of these. I'm going to record something with them, and then I'm not going to be singing. I'm just going to be talking with them, and then we will put a video of them up. I really would love to have some musical guests on the show. So if you know anybody, send them my way, and we can have some great stuff. The last thing I want to show you today is one of my favorite things that I found on the internet recently. Essentially, some of my friends one of my friends has started doing this. This is not, the video I'm going to show you is not his, but because sports aren't happening, people are taking to announcing their own activities in the home. So what sorts of things can you treat like a sport and then do a sportscast announcement over the top? This is one of the funniest that I've seen. So I'll let it play out, and then I'll see you guys in a second.
Good afternoon and welcome to American Hedgehog Warrior Warranty Edition. Today our warrior will be Pepper. She'll be trying to do what no other hog has done before and spike the competition. She'll have to make her way across 6 pieces of furniture, various obstacles, and down the super slide to the ground to complete the course. Looks like she's found her way pretty quickly to the double barrel bridge, Bob. Incidentally, besides being the quickest way to the love seat, it's the only way to the love seat. So, good on you, Pepper. As we watch the slow-mo here, you see the footwork as she walks the tightrope and gets across without falling, and she's zipping across the love seat. That'll help. But she fell for the invisible tunnel, folks. That's going to hurt her in the end. She'll have to make up some time somewhere along the line. And looks like she's having a little bit of trouble getting her chubby little ass up on the glass to get up on that armrest, but she figured it out. No harm done. And looks like she's taking a little bit of a breather on the knee pad bridge. While we have a little downtime here, it's helpful to tell people that hedgehogs are nearly blind, so she's practically doing this whole thing without seeing a goddamn thing. Pretty impressive. Anyway, back to the action. So she's trying to figure out which way she wants to go, and she goes across the wobbly bridge, no problem at all. Down the armrest and towards the final obstacle. But what's going on here? I've never seen this before, Bob. She's going the wrong way. What the hell is she doing? Oh, okay. She goes back to it. And she's scaling Pool Noodle Mountain for the final obstacle before the ramp. And look at this replay. She comes down so gently without hurting herself. Well done, Pepper. And it looks like she's in the final stretch here, folks. She's coming up to the ramp. Now, this has given her trouble in the past. She's been a little bit reluctant, but she has done it. So we'll see if she will do it now. And yes! Yes, she did it, folks. Good job, Pepper.
And what a hog it was. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been our show for today. Thank you so much for being here. This has been the Shut-In Show. Call your folks, go on a walk, eat some lunch. Thank you very much. My name is Danny Parker.